Hi guys, part 2. So I don't know if we should name this a new chapter. We're still kind of stuck on that chapter. I'm really sorry. Our battery died completely. Right when I was about to confess something I did bad. Okay, by the way, you guys, I'm very emotional today. It's been really hard the last month. You know, first coming out with this and then dealing with family and friends, like people that are trying to like protect my family. Like, oh, Netta, it's not such a great thing to do. Us Iranians, we don't do this. Actually, no, Iranians do. You're talking about some old-fashioned Iranian like my mother. Today's Iranians are strong. They're outspoken. They are, the women, Iranian women, I mean, they are not suppressed anymore, and they do speak, and they do go against anything they don't believe. So I really do look up to those Iranian people today. And yeah, in every culture, there are suppressed, where you're like, shh, don't talk. This stays inside the family. And I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, wow, Netta's going to go against her mafia family. Well, I don't come from an entire mafia family. I come from my stepdad, who was in the mafia. My mother's family was not. So yeah, a big part of my life was stuck in this, you know, it's just a mess. I come from, you know what kind of family I come from. We come from a prestige Persian family. But then my mom, you know, married into the wrong families. And that is where I was going with it yesterday. I was trying to say to you guys, what I did that was wrong was that my mom, her husband today, her kids have done nothing bad to me. I get along with them. They're great siblings. I don't have anything negative to say about them. And I don't have any jealousy about what my mom was able to do for them. If anything, that gives me, you know, a sense of happiness to know that 3 boys had a mom when they didn't have a mom in their life, like their own mother, but then they got my mother. So my mother is capable of being a good mother. But I also feel that she has hurt those boys along the way in different ways. She doesn't have a healthy way. That's really the best way of putting it. Throughout my podcast, you guys, you'll see me thinking a lot and trying to figure it out, because instead of rehearsing and getting on here, I just get on. I do better under pressure. Okay, so let's go back to what I did. So what I did was, I told you guys, she pulled us back into her life and asked us to come and help her get divorced. And she told me some really bad things about one of my stepbrothers. And who knows if this is even true. Because when my mom decides that she wants to turn people against each other, she knows how. And she knows me. She knows I'm protective. You guys, I am this child that is constantly looking for her love. But then again, I'm also this person who's very protective of her. So, like, there are times I'll get in a fight with my husband, and I'll be like, hey, don't talk about her, because I still have that side that wants to protect her. I don't know why. I'm just that way. I'm protective of my family. I was raised to protect your family. I was raised to keep quiet. So what got into me that day when I had my daughter film the fight inside my mom's house, well, I took that and I posted it on TikTok. And it probably was not the best idea, because it got back to the family. That's not my stepdad, but, you know, her husband. I don't like to call every man she married my stepdad. I have one stepdad and I have one biological dad. And then there's 4 husbands of my mother. I don't call them stepdads. So the husband that's with her now, it wasn't right what I did. I feel bad what I did. It got over 3 million views. It was really, actually, it was funny. It was funny when I posted it, because it was this crazy fight and my mom standing there screaming. And then it really just made my stepdad look bad. It made my brothers look bad. So it really, like, that one video was like sent to everyone in Iran on their side of the family. So at the end of the day, my mother caused all of it. And then she came to me and said, take it away. And I was like, I took it away. I posted the video, and then a few days later, I took it off. I felt bad, but not really. Not really. I didn't feel bad. I kind of wanted it out there, but then I took it off. And then I put it back on. I did another video where I did a story time where I said that my stepbrother was trying to steal from my mother. So these are things that maybe I should have kept quiet because my mother is still married to the guy and they're all her family. I should have known better because now she's trying to erase all of it, meaning, once again, she pulled me into something that I should have stayed out of, that I've been staying out of for years, and then I got myself into trouble. But luckily, I was big enough to apologize to them, even though I shouldn't have apologized to them. I'm always the one that goes and apologizes because she said that my stepdad, oh, I shouldn't say stepdad, her husband was going to apologize to me for doing what he did. He said bad words to me. He pushed my daughter, and he was going to say sorry, but he never did. So long story short, that's what I'm confessing, that I shouldn't have aired that when my mother is going to stay with this guy now. So at the end of the day, she lied to us. She pulled me back into her chaos. I thought I was helping her by exposing this people and helping her. No, actually what I did was dig a bigger hole for myself and got myself into trouble. So now, yesterday, the update is she said to my husband, I never asked you guys to get involved. Now she's blaming the younger stepbrother. She's always has to blame someone. So I'm not like the bad guy here anymore. I'm just the bad guy because I got involved and now she doesn't want to get divorced. Does any of that make sense to you? Probably not. Nothing makes sense. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to explain to you guys is I'm a poor little kid still trying to win her over. So I thought that was going to rescue her and get her out of her trouble, to get her back to my side. But no, I was wrong because my mom will always pick a man over me. And that's something I need to learn. And I guarantee, oh, by the way, this is what she said. I said, you know what, Mom? Why did you have to pull me into this? As a matter of fact, I just don't even feel comfortable coming to your house anymore. So just, I don't want to come over there anymore. And she goes, don't worry, I'll come and visit you. Oh my God. Can you imagine? Like, I can't even imagine saying that to my kids. It's my freaking house, lady. Everybody, like my children, if you're 50, my home is your home. I gave birth to my children. So I'm not one of these parents who thinks, oh, when your kid is 18, they're out. It's not how I think. It's not how I think. Neither does she. But I guess when it comes to me, she does. Anybody else, she would have. My brothers, any of them can go live with her right now. She would say it's okay for me to live with her, but she'd make my life hell. So I came to this conclusion, you guys. I came to this conclusion. I think I might have family somewhere. I don't believe she's my mom. I just don't. I don't. I know she is. I know she is by blood. But I've decided that I don't have a mom or a father anymore. So I just have to live with it. She is what she is. I tried my best. Remember that interview? We did it together. Remember? She was there. You know what she said to me yesterday? I tricked her. And then I posted it. You were being interviewed for my podcast, lady. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is let's just move on from her. At the end of the day, I don't have a mom. I did this podcast thinking that I would get back with her, forgive her, and make things better. But if anything, it's a waste of my time. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to be silent. And I decided that after a month off, and so, like, I even had a friend of mine call me and say, oh, you're lying. None of this happened to you. I remember your life. You had a good life. Yeah, idiots. To people, most of us look like we have a good life. If you look inside of any family, when they're covering up stuff, it looks like a good life. And children, we go along with it. And that's what I did. I went along with it my whole life. And now I'm tired of it. And now I don't want to go along with it anymore. I'm against it. And I want to speak up. And I think I want to speak up because my mother even tried to silence my children. So I'm going to stop the silence. So yeah, podcast is back. We're all back. And I'm going to come back with all my stories. And I'm not going to be shut down anymore. So that's that. So that was a mistake I made. I fell for her again. And I'm sure you guys get that. Now, if you're out there and you're trying to build a relationship with your family, please don't let me be the reason you don't. Look how much I've tried with my mom. I have tried everything. But I think she's sick. And I don't think she's ever going to be the mother I'm trying to get. But that doesn't mean you can't, okay? I'm just talking about my situation. There is always forgiveness. Now, I think I did tell you guys that my stepdad apologized to me. And so that's why I was able to go on his deathbed and let him go. And just say, it's okay, the past is the past. You can go. I am going to attach that video to this so you can see what I did. I walked into the hospital. He was completely gone. And the nurse said, you are my last phone call. Please, we need someone to come here and say, get him off life support, or you want him to get treatment for cancer. He got lung cancer and brain cancer. And at the end of his life, nobody was there. So I did it. I got in my car and decided, you know what? He apologized to you, Netta. He did apologize to you. Don't hold a grudge. Let it go. And I did. So I have that video and I'll post it. You won't understand what I'm saying, but I did it. And I thought I could do that with my mom, but forget the whole mom thing. I'm not even going to try. If something happens and it works, I'll let you know, but I'm just going to keep going with my story. Okay, so some of you were wanting to know more about my life today. Well, I'm actually sitting in my studio right now. What I do now for a living, and I have been for 20 years, is I'm an intuitive healer, but I'm also a trainer, a dance teacher. I work with the human body. I have classes that I started at the gym, and I became one of the most popular teachers at the gyms. So I decided to open my own place. I won top fitness in the country. So I think God finally got me to understand where my place was in this world, how I was going to help others, and that was through movement. And that's how I learned about my gift, about being a healer. And I'll tell you more stories about that in our future. But right now, I just wanted to come back and tell you the end of that chapter. And also, you know, you guys, being a child that is raised by a family that people look up to, you have to understand, coming out, I'm going to have so many people tell me that the things that I'm saying are not real, it's not true. That's okay. I've completely let go of my anger towards these people. They don't know better. My biological side family, they always want to protect my biological father because he was a good brother, he was a good father to other children, and a good son to his family. So how can they say it was bad? Instead, they would just say, oh, Netta was bad. Netta didn't want her dad. Oh, yeah, because Netta was how old? When my dad left. So, yeah, Netta didn't want it. And then Oh, and then he tried to come back to Netta's life, and Netta didn't accept him. Well, let's talk about the time that he came back. Well, wait, you guys already know about him, coming back when I was 13, and then I went to stay with him for the week. I think I told you guys that story. If I didn't, I will tell you in the next episode. I'll go look back and see if I told you that story. But before that 1 week stay with my biological dad when I was about 13, I think I told that story, right? I did. So you guys know that story about the hotel room. Before that, I reunited with him when I was about 8 or 9. And that was like a fake, whatever it was. So then after that whole episode of my friend and him, I never told anybody, guys. Never until now. And so his family never knew what he did to my friend. So he got away with it. And then you guys, when I was about 16, I got married. He came back to the wedding as if nothing ever happened. He took off and stole half my wedding gifts. He came back. I caught him with my mom. Ugh, disgusting. And I almost threw up thinking of him. Because I'm an intuitive healer. Remember, I feel spirits sometimes, and then they come in me, and I feel, ugh. And then when I was about, how old was I again when I saw him? I think I was married. I don't remember seeing him again. And then, you guys, during the time when I got married, he was there. He stole all my wedding gifts, took them back to Iran, and gave them to his family. I don't even know about all that stuff. He faked, like he gave us jewelry. Look, let me just tell you this. I'm a product of two people that hated each other, and then they hated me. So my mom and dad just hated each other. So I'm the product of hate. So my biological father's side does not want to admit any wrong that he did. And then after I'm older, he comes back. What do you think he came back for? He came back because he wanted me to get him a green card. So he came back with love and kindness. I'm sorry. I want you as my daughter. And this is after how many failed tries, So then here I am now in my 20s, trying again with my biological father. And all he ever wanted from me was me to get him a green card. So I said, no. Show me that you're my father first for a few years, and then I'll do it. And you know what he did? He came to America behind my back, didn't tell me, because my cousin invited him. He was here for a full 10 days, didn't call me one time. He went to Hawaii and enjoyed himself, went back to Iran. Then I found out that he was here. Do you know how hurt I was? What kind of a father is trying to work his way back after all that you've done again? But not even my childhood, in my teenagehood. And then I'm open to being, I want a dad. I'm dying for a dad. So I'm open to it. And then the second time, he's here, doesn't tell me, and I'm going to my cousin's wedding. So I'm at the wedding, and then who do I see? My dad. And that was supposed to be a surprise. That was a surprise. They were going to surprise me. Well, I find out that he's already been here for 2 weeks and that he was leaving the next day after the wedding. So my surprise was seeing my dad at a wedding. Oh, and then he asked me once again at the wedding, can you get me the green card? Because I want to come back every year. He even tried, you guys. So that was in my early 20s. And then he tried again in my late 20s. And that's when I was getting married. I was married to my husband. In my 30s, when I got married to my husband. And he did it again. And this time he came through my husband. He came and said, oh, I love you guys. I want to be the father to my daughter. I want to be a grandpa to my child who was a year old. You guys, he comes, we accept him again, comes over. I think he spent the night with us a couple times. He did. Even had a great night with my husband, and we had dinner together. You guys, he was only there for the green card. At the very end of his stay, he said, do you think you can get me the green card now? And that was it. That was it. I cut him off for good. And that's what I'm going to do to my mom. I'm soon getting there. I'm cutting her off for good. So from being born until almost 30, he hurt me. But his family blames me. What did I do wrong? Do you know that I blame myself? I'm always like, okay, you didn't do good enough. You shouldn't have accepted him. You should have got him the green card. No, I don't want you here. Why would I get you a green card? So you can come here and sleep with my friends? Oh, by the way, he also slept with one of my mom's friends. Did I mention that to you? Yeah, he did that. He did that, not when I was 13. He did that when he came back from my wedding, because she was at my wedding. So when I got married at 16, he slept with my mom's friend as well. He's a pig, disgusting. Sorry, I know you're in hell, but you are disgusting. So, and a lot of you were asking me if he ever went to jail or got in trouble for sleeping with a minor. No, he didn't. He didn't, because no one told. All right, so that is my biological dad's story. I don't really have any more stories about him other than him being a prick, just a bad person, but only to me. Maybe my other brother, that's his biological son, didn't get the best treatment, but the two daughters that are still alive right now, and they're living off his inheritance. Just so you know, at the very end of his life when he died, I called him and gave him his little piece goodbye. And I was told by Iranian government that his money, his pension, all of it was going to go to me because it's supposed to go to the youngest child. Well, my two sisters and my mom together, the idiots, they got together and they fooled my mother to tell my mom, oh, tell Netta to just sign this piece of paper so that we can get the full rights here. We'll get her money and we'll send it to you. I told my mom, you really believe that, Mom? You really think that when we sign this piece of paper that they're going to give us the money? No, Mom. They're going to take the money and run. But I don't care. And I signed it. I signed it only for one reason, because I don't care. I didn't want a penny from this man. And second reason, I wanted to prove to my mom that once again, she was wrong and she got fooled by this family again. She probably even knew, who knows. But anyway, so I signed and I never saw the money. Guess what? They got really wealthy in Iran. The two sisters bought themselves homes and they're just, then I got nothing. Nothing from that side. So nothing. So I don't, what else am I going to say? So then the family realized, wow, Netta didn't ask for any money. She's so lovely. Now they like me again. And then the aunt, that one aunt that I told you guys about that came and destroyed my entire relationship that I had with my cousins and people I love, still love on my dad's side. That aunt was the female version of my father. Two evil people that were born. And she made sure she separated everybody from me. But then now this one realized I didn't take the money, so she came climbing back to me. And then that whole family was trying to get me back because they were like, oh, Netta's so innocent. We can't believe Netta didn't even want the money. Yeah, idiots. It was never my fault. I never wanted him for his money. Never. So anyway, so that's that. I still love a lot of my family from my biological father. I love my brother. His name is Brad. I don't think he loves me too much because he probably is very protective of his father. I am the only person in my father's side that came out and is telling you guys what was going on. I am the only person in my mother's life and family that's coming out. I am the bad person in my family because I decided I want to be an example. For 20 years, I've been an example to people. I have taken people off medication, depression, anxiety, and trust me, I have healed along the way helping people. So this feels right. Coming out and being truthful and real. And so what if they call you a liar? So what? And that is thanks to you. Because your comments, when you go on my YouTube and you comment and you like them and you tell me to keep going, that's how I keep going. Otherwise, I could have just sold my story to Netflix and moved on. I'm not doing that. I want you to hear the truth. And I want to tell you more. I want to kind of go back a little bit. And I want to tell you more of how I was as a teenager when I was on my own living and on my own working. I wasn't always this bad person. Yes, I was a criminal-minded, very always looking for the easy route, always looking for how I can get things. Because, yeah, I had a little bit of that corrupted mind. Today, I'm this person that does everything in the right. Would never want to scam a company, a person, or steal. I would rather give you everything I have. So how I went from broken to who I am today is so important for you to learn. When I was 16 years old, married, I spent a lot of times in nightclubs and just being in this same. So what I did in my teenage world was kind of emulate what I saw. My mom was out. My mom had parties. So this is what I'm doing. Even though I didn't like it as a kid, I continued it. I became a gambler. My stepdad was a gambler. I ended up marrying. The guy that I ended up marrying was a gambler. So I don't know how that happened. But anyway, long story short, I want you guys to know that the 3 years that I was married to this guy, we were like a boyfriend and girlfriend, and we did have a good time. Like, we did have a good time, to be honest with you. Like, we became club promoters together. So I was like this minor. I was a minor running a nightclub. I grew up really fast. At 16 years old, you guys know I looked way older. So I was already out. I was basically doing everything an adult was doing at 16. I was out nightclubs. I was already trained to be up until 2, 3 in the morning with my mom. So that lifestyle that I continued with the guy I was married, well, that is the reason why I didn't go to college at that point. Because oh my God, you guys, I was such a smart kid. I remember being in school because I had a really mean stepdad that kept me really, at least we have to give him credit. He did keep me in school. Like, he kept me like a straight A student in school. Because if I wasn't straight A, I'd get my butt whooped. I think I told you guys the cue cards. He made cue cards of everything. History, like my test. I knew 9 times 9 was 81. You had 5 seconds to answer it, or it was like a bam, whack in the face. So, yes, it was a very military, no, maybe military people don't do this, but in my eyes, it was very military, like, bam, if you got it wrong. So I was a really good student. But in my teenage years, I became rebellious. So I smoked cigarettes in the bathroom. I got into fights. I ditched. I brought alcohol to school. I didn't have a parent. So it all started when I was about, 14 years old and realized, hey, I know how to sign my mom's names. my mom's signature. My mom never wanted to take the time to really understand American and how to be an American. You've been here your whole life, lady. Learn how to write. Learn how to read. She is still struggling with it. She's been here for 50 years. Whatever, 45 years. I don't know how long she's been here. 45 years? 40 years? So I did everything for her. I filled out all my school applications. I filled out all her applications. She never had to do anything. So I was the parent to myself. Hey, Netta, you're in trouble. Okay, don't worry. I'll sign. I'll send it. So she really was not involved in anything in my school. Nothing. I was involved with everything. So when I moved out, I was used to being involved with everything. So going to high school became a chore because I was with this guy and we'd be out clubbing. Then we'd go to the casinos all morning. Then by the time it was like 8 a.m., I had to be in school. I'd be like, oh God, I'm so tired. So that started diminishing. So even the girl that had the opportunity to go to school and be smart and get somewhere, well, I started to slack that too. And so my entire life, I just knew I needed to get out of school. I needed to graduate. So how the heck I graduated high school, I have absolutely no idea. I don't know how I graduated high school. Thank God I have a brain, I guess, that works. But I spent half my time ditching school. I graduated at 17 years old, you guys, so I did pretty darn good. And then after I graduated high school, I was pretty much done with school for a long time. I did not go back to college until I was, let me talk about this. I went back to college when I was about 23 or 24 when I married Kaz. And that was the guy I married, not my setup marriage, my second marriage that I chose. So my high school years, 16, 17, almost 18 years old, I was a married woman. I was a married woman going to school. Is that crazy? I was a married woman in high school. So by that time, all the high school kids knew. So when I was being picked up by like this, he always drove the nicest cars. So of course, back in those days, you're like, got in my car, but they all knew he was way older than me. So I was known as the high school girl dating a man, like an adult. So I guess I became popular because of that. And that made my brain feel like I was empowered. I just felt invincible. So I started really just doing everything that you're not supposed to do at that age. I didn't do drugs. Here's the crazy thing. Even the guy I was married to, he smoked marijuana. His family smoked marijuana, but they would never let me smoke. So what was really kind of weird, that the guy I got married to kind of protected me. Like, they knew I was a child, so I shouldn't be smoking marijuana, but that's okay to do sexual stuff with her and film her. So I realized the guy that I got married to he was a photographer. So in my mind, we were doing things together and he always filmed it. I just never thought about it. Who knew that he accumulated, I don't know how many videos of me, and who knows what happened to those videos, because when I was married, I told you guys, he got arrested in my 30s. He was arrested for child pornography, a whole bunch of things. I actually found out because my mother was going to support him in court. Remember that, Ulf? So, yeah. And another thing I want you guys to know is, oh my God, you guys, I have such a messed up, everything is so messed up. So, and I keep going back and forth. If I confuse you, let me know. But in my 30s, I find out the guy I got married to is now, has all these videos. I bet you I was in those videos. So who knows where those are? Thank God. Hopefully they're gone. They were tapes. I'm sure they don't even work anymore. So anyway, how in the world how did my mom find out? And then why is she there? You know why? Okay. So let's go back to how messed up she is. When I was married to this guy, if you remember, he had a relationship with my mother because he would go out. Remember, like they would hang out because I was the minor and I wasn't always allowed to go to all the over 21 places, except the places that, knew my stepdad, and they would let me go any of those places because, he was a king even though he was in jail. So in jail, my father, when he was there, remember that I still, oh God, this is killing me. I still had the presence of having a mafia dad who, by the way, I don't care what anybody says, my stepfather started all of Persian TV in America. He started Persian TV. He started Persian concerts. He started all the Persian female singers. Not that he started them. They were already in Iran, maybe famous, but here in America, his TV was called Melli, M-E-L-L-I TV. He was the very first one that brought all these people, on TV. And kind of like, so you guys know that the government in Iran was completely after him, but he was a king to all the people here in America because he was getting them freedom. But I think he was just doing all that for himself because it made him narcissist, made him feel good, made him feel powerful. But I used his power because everywhere I went, they said, whose daughter are you? And the minute I said who I was, it was over. Like, even today, they will respect everything. Like, if I walked in somewhere and I said, hi, my dad was Q, it's like loyalty, royalty. So, oh God, what was I even trying to tell you about that? But anyway, so yeah. So, shoot, what was I trying to say, Ulf? Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah. So you guys, I was trying to tell you why I continued, like, my clubbing and just, even though, like, my mom and I was against my mom, at the same time, I've always wanted to be with my mom. Does that make sense? Like, as much as I get mad at her, once she comes up to me and says she's sorry, and right away I forgive it. And I always want to go back to her. And so knowing that I was married, but she was still there, so I know what I was trying to tell you guys. I was trying to separate from my mom's life, and that's why him and I started doing our own going out. And that's how I got into the clubbing world, nightclubs. So they were not Persian anymore. It was kind of like getting out of the Iranian nightclubs and then kind of just trying to separate myself. But I'm still going in the wrong direction with the guy I'm with because he's also young and naive. And he doesn't have any family here. His mom and dad are all in Iran. He had no one but us. And then he had his cousin. And that's where I was going. So my mom stayed friends with my ex-husband's family behind my back. I didn't really have anything against my ex-husband's family. As a matter of fact, there's so many I still love today. But she found out about my ex-husband going to jail from the woman that my mother actually had me beat up. I beat her up. I think I told you that story. I don't know if I told you guys this story, but when I was about 18, right about towards the end, when I was about to get divorced with the guy I was married to, my mother had a relationship with his family, and one of his cousins was getting off really bad drugs, and not that bad cousin, a really nice cousin. And my mom wanted to help him, so she took him into her home and was keeping him there sober. Well, his sister is the woman that my mom actually found out about my ex-husband being in jail. So that woman found out that my mom was trying to get her brother off drugs, and she didn't like that. She did not want my mom, who is now going to be, because I was going to leave that family, so they were mad at me, and they did not want my mom doing anything good, and she got jealous. She's like, oh, that's my brother. So she came to my mom's house and was like banging on the door, trying to get her brother out. Well, my mom and her friend were the ones who told me, go beat her up, basically. So they threw me at her. Well, they didn't throw her up. I was ready to get her. And I pretty much beat her up, shoved her back in her car, sent her off home, and I never saw her again after that until here now in my 30s. And my mom is talking to her. I didn't even know my mom was talking to her. You told me to beat her up, and then you ended up staying her friend all these years. So that's how she found out. So when I found out that my mom was at court supporting him, I did not believe this whole thing. I just didn't. So I got in my car and drove all the way to freaking, I don't know where, Lancaster, and I get out of my car, get out in the courtroom, and there's my mom sitting down in the courtroom while he's being prosecuted, not for me, what he did to me, something he did in his 30s now, and my mom is sitting there supporting him. And so the court is on a break. She comes out and she's like, oh my God, you're here. And I was like, what are you doing? Why are you here? Don't you remember the last time I saw this woman? I was in a physical altercation with her because you basically told me to beat her up. And then my mom was like, I feel sorry for him. He has no one, this family. But you drove in the car with his cousin? Anyway, you guys, that's the stuff I'm telling you about. I mean, he saw me there. He probably thought I came to support him. I didn't. I just came to see what was going on. He, I guess, spent some time in jail after that. And my mom was like, you can't be mad at me. He was your husband. No, my mom is a sick woman, and I'm starting to realize that she tells me that she can't let go of people. She can. She just doesn't let go of people that she feels empowered over. Anytime you need my mom, that's when she likes you. But if you're doing okay, she doesn't like you. So that's why she gravitated to that guy and went to court in 12 years later? What are you doing with that family 12 years later? No, she still supports that family. Anyway, so many more stories to share with you. Will you write in the comments what you want to hear? And this is what I'm going to do. Instead of going through this ordeal of I just want to get on YouTube, tell my story pretty much every other day now, so I can just even if it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, if you guys can help me like my videos, it will help me with YouTube. And then what I'll do, comment. I want you to comment. And then what I'll do is ask me questions, and I'll come on every other day and answer questions for like a week. And then let's go to the next chapter. That way I don't keep repeating myself. I'm not a professional, and I have so many stories, but I'd rather not go through every story so that like when the show comes out, you'll be like, oh God, I already know that. No, that way you'll have things that you'll be like, oh my God, I didn't even know that. So that would be kind of more interesting. Let's take my negative life and try to make it a little interesting for you. If you need anything from me, send me private messages on Instagram, The Naked Truth of Netta. So I would like to come on every other day and answer questions. So I think that would be a great start. Whew. And then I'm going to try to keep you updated with everything that's going on right now. Listen, you guys, today's a big day. Supposedly, we are going to go and drop off my mom's divorce paperwork. Let's see what happens. Today is a big day in the sense of I keep saying my stepdad because of my stepbrothers. Her husband is going to be served divorce paper. Now, this is the second time. Personally, myself, I don't care if she divorces or not. I want to end it with this. I don't have anything against the guy she's married with right now. Who cares? I always think he's the one who took my mom away from me. You didn't. You don't have that much power. She took herself away from me. As a matter of fact, she told my husband last night on the phone that if my daughter doesn't want to accept my life, she doesn't have to be in it. That's what she said. So, and my stepbrothers, like that one I spoke negatively against, the one that she gave the right to go into her bank account and do all these things, then later accused him of doing it without her rights. It's baloney. You let him do it, but you didn't want him to do it, but you let him do it. No, you wanted him to do it, but then you didn't want me to know. So what you did, Mom, was you lied to make me and him hate each other so that we never figured out that you were the lie between us, which, by the way, I decided, because I know how she manipulates me all the time, even though I was begging for her love in that chapter that you saw me with her, forgiving her, that they haven't done anything to me, my stepbrothers. They haven't. Have they all? They haven't. No, they've done nothing to us. So they're innocent. So I want to take a moment to apologize to my three stepbrothers if I offended you guys by posting, the video of your dad and my mom fighting. It wasn't right. It's really my mom's fault. She involved me and made me feel like I needed to rescue her again. She loves that feeling of getting me to want to rescue her and then try to say, why are you doing this? Why? So at the end of the day, you know what I did? I picked up the phone, you guys, last couple weeks ago. I called my stepbrothers and I said, look, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that I exposed the video. I'm really sorry that I spoke against you guys. This is not about you. This is about me and people that have hurt me in my life. So I want to take it away from them. So because they really haven't done anything to me. In 16 years, they've been around. They've been just there. They've done nothing bad to me. And then, when it comes to my biological siblings, I have only one no, I don't have any biological siblings. I don't have any biological siblings. I don't have any siblings that are from my mother and father. I have I have two brothers and me that are from my mom. That's my brother Petey, my brother Shaheen, and me. So we three were out of her stomach, and all three of us have three separate fathers. And so the one father you guys know, I never met because my mom was in Iran and he lived in Germany. That was that whole story you guys know about my brother that didn't know my mom until he was 18. And then the second father, is me, is my biological father. So my biological father has 3 other children that we know about, and that's 2 sisters, and the brother Brad, that's the one I always talk to you guys about. My niece actually looks exactly like me, and he is the best father you'll ever meet in your life. And I know he's like that way because he didn't have a good father. I think my biological father did the best he could, I guess, for him, but those 2 sisters that I think are the evil stepsisters who I cannot stand. As a matter of fact, in the last 6 months that I came out with my story, I am starting to get memory of those 2 evil sisters, of them hitting me as a child and suffocating my face as a child. Things that are really spooky, guys. So I'm just kind of giving you a lowdown of what I have here. So if I ever talk about my stepfather, that is number 2. Right, Olf? No, number 3. So number 3. So my stepfather, one more time, is not the first one she married. Second one was biological. Third, stepdad. Stepdad, mafia dad. Mafia dad was in my life, 9 years old, 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old. Then he went to jail for 7 years. Then he came out when I was 20. And then I had a relationship with him. I did. It was kind of, it was nice. It was actually okay. It was okay. It was nice. It was fine. He didn't like, that was before I met you, Ulf. He didn't like the things I was doing. He was trying to help me get out of the casinos. But then what I did, you guys, from I want to say for 3 to 4 years of my life, I ran away from everyone. So he didn't see me. My mom didn't see me. We'll get back to that. That was when I was with my gangster boyfriend, and he took me away from the family for 3-4 years completely. And then when I left him, my stepdad was back in my life, even to the point when I got married again and gave birth to Sebastian. So you guys, when you see the video of me walking into the hospital to say goodbye to my stepdad, I just want to remind you that when my stepdad came out of jail, my relationship with him was decent until it was fine. I had my child. And what do you think ruined that relationship? My mother. She decided she found a new guy. And my stepfather really thought in his soul that she was going back with him because she made it look that way. And every other day we were having lunch. He was inviting us. You guys, seriously, jail did make him a better person. I'm going to start crying when I think of him. Whew. He came out better. And as a matter of fact, he even helped my husband and I buy my first house. So he did try. And then I think she got jealous of just seeing my stepfather and I being good. It felt good. It felt like having a dad. He'd come over and it was so funny. He wasn't the same guy. He really was better. And I think that if my mother would have given him the real chance of going back with him, it would have been great. But what my mom ended up doing was staying friends with bad people that my stepdad didn't want to be part of anymore. my stepdad knew that if he went back to these people, he'd start drugs again. But my mom didn't care because that's where the nightlife is. Party, 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 still today party. So I'm just trying to break it down so you guys understand. So my stepdad would come. I gave birth. He was there. Sebastian, he loved his grandfather. Oh my God, you guys, he'd come every day from work with his suitcase. He had this little briefcase. He'd come over to our home. He'd visit us. He'd hang out with Sebastian. He was like a year old. Sebastian would play with his briefcase. He always came with toys for him. And then, oh, and by the way, before, was it Sebastian? Whose baby shower did he have for me? Yeah, Sebastian's. So when I got pregnant, you guys, he threw me okay, so remember when I was 16, I got married and all the Persian, like, amazing. Remember, I never talked bad about the Persian industry, the singers, the people, and I really didn't see anything bad other than just one. It's actually really interesting to be a little girl in a TV production, like, you know, people coming and going. There was really no bad people in that industry. I think they were all like just happy to be acting and singing because that was during the time in regime in Iran where everybody was like, don't sing, don't dance, put it on. So I just don't remember anything really other than just the negative drugs and the partying. I didn't have molestation from these people. Like, they treated me nice. Like I was the little girl hanging out in the production. But when I got married, he was in jail. But he's the reason why we had that entire wedding. It was $1 million wedding, but it was free because everybody did it for him. And so he always wanted to do something to be there for, like, to be at it. So when I was pregnant with Sebastian, he decided he wanted to throw me a baby shower. You guys, I want to be nice to you, Q. You did. He threw me one of the most amazing baby showers. I have pictures of it. And that was actually a day that I felt that I had my dad. I danced with him. Remember those pictures? I danced with him, and it was just a really nice baby shower. And a lot of the Persian singers came. Like, it was just really nice. I had the best. We invited 150 people. If I can find some of the pictures, I will post it. I was big and pregnant. It was amazing. So he was a big part of that. He was a big part of, you know, being there and afterwards. And then, boom, my mom, I'm not mad at her that, okay, maybe she wasn't in love with him anymore. Fine. But how she does things is so messed up. She met a new guy, the one I told you, the one that her friend introduced her to, the gangster lady. You guys know, in the toothless gangster lady, Wolf calls him. That one introduced my mom. Thank you. And so, long story short, I'm not going to blow my nose, don't worry. So basically what happened was a bad woman introduced her to the guy that, remember, that owned the kebab place that people would go to after nightclubs. I met him. I knew him. He was a really nice guy. He owned a restaurant. Everybody would go there. I did not know that my mom was dating him. But my mom was dating him behind my back and my stepdad's back. So basically, she was cheating on my stepdad because my stepdad thought they were getting back together. So what happened was when my stepdad found out about that guy, he basically got so hurt that he told us that he can't be around. He just can't. He can't. He's in love with my mom, and he can't be around. And so I felt like he wanted me to choose either my mom or him. Basically, my mom did that. My mom said, if you're going to have a relationship with him, you can't have it with me because I can't. So she pretty much destroyed that relationship. So by the time Sebastian was like 5, yeah, because, oh yeah, he was 5. And I'll tell you why I remember. My grandmother passed away. So when my grandmother passed away, I did not, now I hadn't seen my stepdad for a few years, right? Yeah, he moved away, and it was just getting more distant. He was distancing himself from all of us. I could have held on to him, but then I felt like I was betraying my mom. So long story short, I was pregnant with Isabella, my daughter, when my grandmother passed away, and he did come to my grandmother's funeral, and he saw me. I sat across from him, and he saw me pregnant, and it just felt distant. And my mom kept us away, and then my mom made him look bad to me again by telling me, like, see how he was, you were pregnant, he didn't even care. So basically, she manipulated us to just separate from him again. So basically, I didn't see him again. It just went away like that. And it really is hurtful because I wish it didn't go away. Now I'm mad at myself because I could have kept my relationship with him, but I didn't because of her. Because I could have kept it. He apologized. Everything was fine. So anyway, years go by. We don't talk to him anymore. She doesn't talk to him anymore. Years and years go by. She breaks up with that guy. Or was it Ahad? Oh no, I take it back. Sorry. She didn't break up with the guy. I take it back. It's the guy she's married to now. Duh. Sorry. I'm sorry. It wasn't the guy from the kebab place. No, my bad. No, sorry. That was just no, it wasn't him. He didn't know him, remember? He was in jail. Sorry, it was the guy she's married to now. Because it was 16 years ago. So, basically, I supported her new marriage, so he went away. I should have kept in touch with my stepdad. Part of me feels really guilty, but I always chose my mom. So we didn't hear from him for years. And then one day she called me and said, like, hey, I have some news for you. I heard from your stepdad. And what happened to my poor stepdad was when he lost us, he went back to his ex-wife, his family, because remember, he has 2 biological boys with his ex-wife. So the ex-wife manipulated him and got him back to that side of the family and my stepbrothers. So they all kind of tricked him and got him back to their side because my stepdad came out of jail and made it again. He worked his butt off and he made it again. And they knew that he had money again. So they made him sell his house that was in the valley with us. He lived like 10 minutes from me. And they made him move. So that brought distance between us. I didn't hear from him anymore. And then, like I said, my mom called and said, your stepdad called me and said that he lost everything to them. So they basically threw him out of the house. They took him for everything he had and threw him out. So he was, at the end of this man's life, mobster who was the king, who had everything, was renting a room from a woman. And he had absolutely nothing. nothing. And his monthly room was $500. So my mom said he called her because he didn't have money to pay his rent. And I said, I'll pay it. So I remember, I think we paid 6 months, right? So I decided I was going to pay 6 months of his rent. So I did. And I told her, I didn't want to talk to him because I didn't want him to be embarrassed. So I guess she told him, this is from Netta. And he called me, but I didn't answer. I wish I would have answered. And then he apologized. And God. Oh, God, I'm sorry, guys. And then he left me this whole message, and he said he was sorry. He said he was sorry for abusing me. First of all, he said he couldn't believe that I would do that. How would I send him money after all that he did? But he doesn't realize that his apology, oh, God. Okay, well, I gave him the money before the apology. But he came out of jail, and he did all that for us. Had a baby shower for me. He co-signed to buy a house for me. He did a lot of good things. So anyway, long story short, he left me like a 3-minute voicemail message, and I wish I have it. I wish I had it. And he apologized. He apologized. He acknowledged hitting me. He acknowledged throwing me in the garage. He called himself an animal and just really bad words. He couldn't understand why I wouldn't want him to die. And just all that kind of stuff. And so I felt so bad. I should have picked up the phone and called him. But I didn't. Because I don't know how to deal with that kind of stuff. So I just decided to let it go. And that one day I would see him again. And then I get, this phone call years, like not even a year. I think it was like a year later. A year later, that's the phone call I get from, the nurse from the hospital who says, hey, I have called every number on his phone. You're the last one. And I was like, oh my God, why me? So that's why I said to the nurse, okay, I'll come. And I called his biological kids. Well, one of his biological kids is my brother. He's my little brother. And I didn't want to put that pressure on him. He didn't deserve it. But I called his other 2 biological kids. And I said, look, your dad is dying. And I'm going to go. Do you guys want to meet me there? They said no. And I said, well, I'm going. So I went. And when I got there, the nurse said to me, I'm sorry, he's in a coma. You're never going to be able to, he's not going to be able to know you're there, but you could go and talk to him. They don't know that I talk to spirits. I'm an intuitive healer. I knew when I walked in, he would open his eyes. And I walked in, and I'm not the one filming. The nurse started filming because they couldn't believe that his eyes opened. And I walked over to him, and I said, hi, Dad. It's me. I'm here. You're not alone. And I just saw his eyes open. And I felt so bad for him because at the end of his life, he almost died alone. And I was able to not let him die alone. Oh, God, I'm an ugly crier. Don't look at me when I cry. I probably cry really ugly. But anyway, I said, Dad, do you hear me? I'm here. I love you. Oh, my God, I couldn't believe I said that. And he said, yeah. He started moving his head. And I said, I forgive you. I want you to go to God. You're going to be okay. And I said, do you know I'm here? And he said, yeah. And I felt so good for what I did for him. And I remember I looked back at the nurses and everybody was bawling, bawling. And I just walked out. He closed his eyes again. I stood there for a minute. He closed his eyes again and he was gone, but alive. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to leave. So I turned around. I walked. The nurse, she came up to me and she was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. He's been in a coma for a week. And I said, wow, well, I hope he dies. I hope he dies. I asked him to go to the light. And so I turned around. All the nurses hugged me and they were all so nice to me. Like, they made me feel so good. And I just remember, and I said to her, please call me, when he passes. You guys, by the time I got to my car, I think I got to my car, he died, right, Olf? I got to my car. I think I got home. I got home. I got out of the garage. I remember getting out of the car and then seeing my phone, and it said that he's gone. And then wow. It was, okay, I want to say one thing. When I left the hospital and I walked out, you guys, it felt like, I swear to my children's lives, I'm not lying, there was a weight lifted off of me that I can't even explain. Like, I got in my car, I was singing and dancing to music. I was like, I couldn't even believe what I did. And then I got home and I thought, wow. And then they told me he was gone. I was sad, obviously. And then I called my little brother, and told him, your dad is gone. And he was, sad. And I said, we got to have a funeral. Anyway, long story short, his ugly freaking, whatever, I don't want to say that. But anyway, they didn't want to have a funeral. They did not want to have anything to do with him. But they wanted his money. He had no money. He died with nothing. Zero. Yeah, they had taken the money before he died. So anyway, long story short, the Persian Iranian TVs, thank you for doing that, by the way, they all did things for him. They acknowledged him. They did these whole bunch of different Iranian traditional things. I could have probably went on the TV and did things. I didn't. I'm not one of those people that are looking for attention. Silently, we mourned him. And then I got his ashes. So I have his ashes. They're at my house. His kids didn't want it. So I have it. I talk to him all the time. He comes around me a lot. And I think my mom is jealous of that, because I think before I end up dying, I'll always say that he's my only dad, because, okay, yes, he was abusive. Yes, he beat the shit out of me. Yes, he ruined my childhood. Yes, he did a lot of those things. But at the end of the day, he apologized. That's all I ever wanted from my mom. All I wanted from my mom is to say this: I'm really sorry, and that's it. But it's always, I'm sorry, but. Anyway, let's end it here. So I just trying to kind of brief you before we move on. Sorry, I'm so nasally now, I can't even talk. Thanks, by the way, for listening. And go ahead and do the commenting. And I'll come on every other day. And I'm going to, even if you asked me in the previous ones, can you please ask me again? There's a lot of comments. Let's keep my YouTube active. And then I'll try to come on every other day. And I'll answer all your questions. And then we'll move on to the next chapter, okay? Thanks, you guys. Bye.